So, welcome to another episode of Don't Call Me Exotic in collaboration with Seoul Community Radio. We are recording this in the HQ of SCR in Seoul. Hi,
Hi.
Nekala.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Cold.
Cold. You're
Yes.
drinking an iced coffee.
Yeah, but it's 얼주가.
What does
Yeah.
that mean?
If you die of cold, you still drink iced coffee.
So, this is something that I've really understood now about Korean people. They love iced drinks. Iced coffee. Just I'm sat here with a hot coffee because it's freezing outside, but you have a cold coffee.
Yeah. I just recently traveled to New York, and I was worried that they don't have iced americano because it's not. I figured that it's not really a thing out there, but
Yeah.
people still do drink iced americano. It seems so.
What were you in New York for?
Just work.
Oh, nice. So for the podcast, could you kind of explain who you are and what you do?
My name is GALA, and I am a musician, electronic musician slash producer slash DJ slash music promoter slash something.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
How long have you been working in the music industry?
I started working in the music industry since like 2015, and started making music, releasing music from 2019. So yeah, it's been quite some time. COVID kind of made me forgot where like when I started or like
Yeah.
how I started. But yeah,
All the years kind of blend into
yeah, kind of.
what did you do during the COVID time?
Um,
Were you making music?
Honestly, not as much as I used to. Um, Kind of started discovering more about how to appreciate myself, and like like everybody was on to this like self love journey. I was on that benga bus as well. um yeah. mm, Discover a lot of like my habits that I forgot, or like just had to like like have to like kind of like take a rest for a while because I wasn't in a like condition where I could like discover my hobbies. Like for instance, like playing games. Like I've been a fan of like games since I was like really young, but because I was living with my parents at the time before, couldn't do much games. Now I have like a whole console in my house, a whole like big TV. Can I swear?
Yeah.
I almost swear. Okay.
Swear.
Okay, nice. I have a big fucking TV, uh, PlayStation, and a Nintendo. Living the touchy dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think the years during COVID has changed kind of like maybe how you approach music now?
I think yeah, because I guess I now have more put more priority into how to do music, like in like a longevity sense, like how to do music, like sustain myself. I think that also aligns with like self love. Like you cannot like burn yourself into doing what you do right now. Like you really want, if you really love what you're doing, like you have to kind of think about how to do this in a longer like period of time. So yeah, I'm thinking more about like how to do this for like the next 40 years.
Do you think it was how is that different from like how you were working before? So were you just like
Oh yeah, definitely.
overworking?
Yeah, I was like overworking in 2019, and then like somehow kind of, I tend to not sound, I tend to try and not sound like I appreciate COVID, but like COVID really made me kind of stop like physically, and like it was like unavoidably like I had to stop, but kind of made me look back on like what I missed and like what I have to do in terms of being like healthy and yeah.
For the UK listeners, so Korea never really had like a full lockdown,
No.
but the clubs were closed,
Hmm.
and that's recently opened up fully, right? Is that why everyone's crazy?
Oh yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah,
Also?
that's totally why.
Because I'm so tired. Everyone goes out every night of the week, and it's not just like a couple of drinks, and it's not just like we'll be out until 2.
Mm.
It's like they will go out, and then they'll go out after,
Yeah.
and then eat, and then go out, and then do karaoke,
Hmm.
and then they do that 7 days a week.
Yeah, like a lot of my friends who I recently met outside of Korea were really surprised that I have like couple of gigs every weekend, and they're like, "Oh, you're playing every week." And I say, "Well, this is like the new norm. It's like,
Was it like this
people
before
are
COVID?
not really. I mean, there is now a thing called like club hopping. People are not really used to like hop around clubs as much as I do now. But I don't know how it actually started, but um I guess there are like multiple reasons why, but also like one of the reasons I guess is because like a lot of the club scenes have shifted a lot after COVID. For instance, like Gangnam is not Gangnam anymore, Hongdae is not Hongdae anymore, but Itaewon kind of is now like a mix of everything. So people, I guess, now feel more comfortable like coming to Itaewon and like just being stuck there till like 6 a.m., catch the first train, go back home.
When you
Yeah.
say that these areas are not what they used to be, what do you mean by that?
Um, um, I mean, Gangnam had the Gangnam Club incidents with drugging women and like sexual assaults cases, and I guess clubbing in Gangnam, the whole image of clubbing in Gangnam is now more like explicit to not explicit, but like kind of like tabooed in Korea for a lot of people. And Hongdae, um, I mean, this is just my perspective, but I guess Hongdae, like when people go out clubbing in Hongdae, it feels like they're attracting more like a younger audience, but Itaewon is based on a more wider range of audiences compared to like Gangnam or Hongdae, because Hongdae or I guess like Itaewon has a more diverse and broader range of music and like crowd uh, attractions, I guess.
So you help promote a party as well.
Yeah.
And it's called Shade
Mhm.
Seoul.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a bit about your party?
So actually, I'm more like one of the promoters in Shade. We have right now we have 4 members at Shade, and um, it's founded by a DJ called Lindsay. Lindsay from South Africa. He started this party called Vogue back in 2014, and Shade started as a rebrand of Vogue in 2016, and we've been doing this for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I joined Shade around like 2017, and been doing this for almost 6 years as well.
How has that affected kind of your nightlife and
Oh, like insanely, like changed my life actually. um, cause I actually wasn't a DJ before. I was more doing like party promotions and um concerts and artists like tour management for artists. Um, and then I took some months off, went to Europe and just went traveling. Came back to Seoul end of 2016, and Lindsay head of founder of Shade Seoul, like asked me to join Shade Seoul as a promoter because he knew that I was doing like promotional work, and I somehow just randomly asked him like, "Oh, can I DJ at your party?" And
It
also
always
like I was
starts like that, I
yeah.
feel like.
I mean, everybody kind of saw me going here and there. Like I was a party animal for like 2 years before, and everybody thought I was a DJ. And everybody who thought I was a DJ asked me like, "Why don't you DJ if you're like going out this much?"
Yeah. You might as well make some money
Yeah.
while you're there.
And yeah, that's sweet. Like fee every time you like DJ
Yeah.
after like, "Oh, here's your fee." Like that was like a whole charm. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so as soon as I started Shade, also kicked off my DJ career back in 2016. I mean, it still is, but like starting your DJ career at Cake Shop is kind of a big deal for like a lot of the DJs, I guess. It still is, but like when I started DJing, Cake Shop was the thing. It still is. Um, so yeah, I was like the Nakasan DJ, like the we call like the parachute.
Oh.
Um, so like if you just like you have to like climb up and build yourself up to like join Samsung or like a
Yeah.
Hyundai, but if you're if you're like an executive son or that happened to me because
Yeah.
yeah I was the main party promoter's
Right.
friend
Yeah.
who joined the party. So I parachuted my way into K Shop's DJ booth and started playing. And yeah, built my way up and started doing a lot of more stuff.
I know that Shade Soul is really famous here, but for people like for my UK listeners and stuff and worldwide, can you kind of explain what the party is?
Um, Shade Seoul is a LGBTQIA plus collective based in Seoul. We are um, doing parties, events to help promote different aspects of what queer culture is in not just Seoul, but in terms of more like a wider perspective, as well as incorporating our own um, sense of what is queer into these events and parties and try and promote a lot of local individuals and queer collectives and queer creatives that we feel and attached to and we admire. Yeah. So we do a lot of international bookings as well as collaborations with different brands or, yeah.
Do you think being part of that community and having that like alongside you has changed kind of how you approach like creating your own music?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost like it's almost like because sometimes you get too absorbed with the Western norm of what queerness is, or kind of gets lost in the fact that you're actually just only this side of being queer, and like what does even queer being mean in this modern society when you only know about RuPaul's Drag Race
Yeah.
or like rainbow shorts. um yeah um yeah, it kind of made me I guess like counter act to some of these things. I mean I obviously love Drag Race. I love like the gayness of the Western like gay culture and like the Western queer culture. I almost like adore, and I still love, but also um always it kind of made me always be aware of what we are mixing and what we actually have to like be aware of. which is we grew up in the society where like queerness is not really a thing, or it's still very taboo in the mainstream society. So and also like we cannot really adapt the same strategy or like the same ideas into our culture or our narratives. So we have to kind of always discover new things that we can relate to, or um, yeah.
So discovering your own identity
Mm-hmm.
within the restrictions that you feel.
Yeah, and also like what situations are we on? Like we're not gonna talk about like Stonewall here. We're not gonna talk about we're not gonna talk about Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about uh, like our past president, that like he openly um, discussed about the fact that he like disagrees with gay marriage, or the current mayor being opposing to and try to ban the queer parade. That's our narrative. That's our situation. So, and also like um, something about like um, gender politics is not the same, or like s- quite different from what the Western um, like the Western studies have been like discovering. So it's I'm trying to more learn about these things, and also like trying to uh, merge that into our culture, like um like a gay adjacent, like a gay culture adjacent, I guess. Like pop culture, like
Yeah.
pop culture in Korea, or
Yeah.
literacy, like modern media, mainstream media, trying to find like that gay pick, you know.
And where are you in that journey?
I'm always still like discovering, trying to learn more about how to like open my expressions, about like openly discuss it in my works. More being more vocal, being more active in my works as well. Yeah.
So that's your expression.
Hmm.
I heard that you recently played in Uganda.
Yeah.
And were you working in Africa as well?
Yeah, I'm actually I was playing at this festival called Nege Nege, and I'm also working with their label called Nege Nege Tapes slash Hakuna Kulala.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm working with this Congolese artist who is trans, and we're building a album together.
Wow.
This is actually this has not been like discussed openly, but well, there we go.
Here's my exclusive.
Yes.
What was that experience like playing in a festival there?
Actually, like being in Uganda was a whole nother experience, because it really opened up of my perspective of like how the global north and the global south is divided, and like, well, actually not divided, like the global north kind of separated the global south. And yeah, also like the limited expression and like the limited environments of like Uganda. Gender expression is not really a thing. Um, you know, like being trans, being queer in somewhere that I've never been to. And I guess well, there's been like a whirlstorm of like things that I experienced, and like I tried to like write it in text, and like it resulted in like a 12-page journal or something.
About your time there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, this is my second time.
Okay.
So the first time was in 2021, October to December, was in a studio session, and yeah, it really changed my whole perspective of being queer, and like living in Korea as well. Um, yeah.
Can you kind of tell me a little bit about the differences?
What kind of
Like, I
differences?
mean, how it changed your perspective.
Oh, like the fact that Koreans are like white Asians.
Oh my god.
Is
that what they say?
No. But like, it is the brutal truth, you know. Like, seeing like, oh, this is kind of a sensitive subject, but like, I've seen so many like Chinese companies trying to like take over Uganda, and I was like, oh my god, this is like the new what's the word, like 식민, like
나 그 말 몰라.
hmm?
그 말 모르겠어.
like taking over the country.
Like colonizing?
Yeah, like the new colonization and stuff. And like it totally like I was like in shock. And I mean that was like one of the things that I like discovered while I was in Uganda. And I mean like the whole queer culture there, or like being queer in Uganda, is like kind of sad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I recently just has been talking about this with my Ugandan friend, and like they really want to like kind of just leave Uganda because like being queer there is like so miserable. If you like, if you know what's happening there, like up there, it's pretty devastating. Because like, um, I guess the whole country and the whole like Ugandan culture kind of stereotypically puts you in a box, much stricter than like here or like somewhere else. Um, Personal expression is not really a thing. Even like when I was at the festival with my friend, like my friend, uh, her name is like Tayo, Authentically Plastic. She's also an amazing producer from Uganda. Um, Definitely should check it out. She just released her album like last month and my birthday, like.
Oh.
But yeah, and I met her. I don't know why I said it, but anyways, when I met her in this festival, we were kind of like walking around. I wasn't really like femme, quote unquote, presenting. She's always kind of femme, dressed like kind of quote unquote femme. I don't like that word, but and I've been seeing a lot of men like talking about our like appearances, even though I didn't speak their language, and my friend had to like tell me what they were saying.
Oh no.
And then like these men, even though like we were at this festival, they were talking about how they want to like beat us, or like
Oh my god.
how they were like kind of calling us like, you know, like you should
Yeah.
go to hell. Or I mean, honestly, like for her, it was like she hears it all the time, kind of. So it was like, okay, whatever. But I was like so in shock, and yeah, and then like this one woman was like asking me if I was like a guy or a girl,
Oh
which was like
gosh.
kind of funny. But also like I kind of understand like you shouldn't put the same standard
Right.
as you know you would experience here, or like you know in like Europe or like America. It's such a different like environment, but also like but still yeah, if you are limited in that environment and you would have some different ideas about what queer is, then you know it's pretty harsh. It's a harsh reality.
God. I really hear you on what you mean by you can't put the standards of what you're used to
Mm-hmm.
on people, like when you're, I guess, like visiting another culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, there's privileges that I'm understanding now, even coming from the UK, growing up in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
where same-sex marriage is recognized, and here it's not.
Mm.
So it's like it's even those things that it's like my day to day, and I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
queer,
Mm.
so it's just like it's I mean we're all trying to work towards the same thing. I
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of like I was kind of giving doubts about, like why should we follow like the Western standard of what queer is, or what like what the
Like, why is that the benchmark?
why is
Yeah.
that the benchmark? But also kind of starting to realize that some parts are actually like, it's not bad actually. I mean, I don't like 100% agree on like what they're saying or like whatever, God knows. But yeah, like sometimes it's really good to just shove it in their face and say like, this is the thing. You should at least like, like read about it and probably adapt to your culture or your senses. Maybe it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
You mentioned that you visited Europe as well.
Mm.
What was that experience like?
Oh, but that was like a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but recently visited New York. But yeah, that was a whole nother experience, which was like so fun.
When were you working on because you just released your EP,
Oh
your
yeah.
second EP?
Mm.
What was that? Were you working on that in Uganda or?
Oh no. Yes and no. I've been doing this for. Wait. So, actually, there is a album coming out hopefully next year with this artist from Congo, and that's gonna be hopefully later next year. And I have another EP, hopefully also coming out early next year. So there's gonna be like
EP and album.
Yeah, 2 releases next year. Um, yeah,
Well, the one you released this year, Shimpa.
last year.
Last year.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Shimpa
Shimpa.
it's a term from like the 20th century. Um, it's a form of like modern theater, which was developed around like early 20th century, influenced by like Japanese theater and like Korean dramas, and it kind of got the term kind of changed into calling something that is like very emotional or like over exaggerating like emotions. Like now like you would call something like, if it's like over exaggerating or like something dramatic,
Yeah.
you would call that like, oh, that's so shimpa. But
So why did you decide to name your EP?
so I got really interested in shimpa when I was doing like my uh graduate project, like graduation project. And I just got really fascinated by something that's like totally forgotten, and like people are now misunderstanding this concept and like just overusing, throwing them everywhere around. And that was like the perfect timing when like Korean cinema and like Korean culture got like super what's the word, like got like noticed by like, that's I think that's like the perfect term to say it, like, because it's been around like
Forever.
for quite
Yeah,
some
yeah,
time, and now people just notice that like, oh, it actually exists.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
now
like a thing on Netflix now,
Mm.
like Korean
yeah, like
drama
K-drama
or
is
K-drama.
like, it's a genre now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and like that was like around like the perfect timing when it got noticed by the upper north people. And yeah, I just got really fascinated by this concept where like I love emotional like riffs with like synthesizers and um, like the emotional structures of a song, and I really just hated people like overusing that term over the lost history of what actually Shimpa is. And it was really fascinating because there's not many, like actually no actual documents about where actually Shimpa started and like where it ended. So people never really deeply cared about or like deeply studied about Shimpa as much as they should have, because actually also it's one of the political reasons, because it got influenced by Japanese theater, and around the time like after like the Japanese colonization, after the war, people and the government tried to like erase all the like Japanese
Yeah.
um, themes in Korean culture, but also like Shimpa was very Korean, even though it kind of started off as a Japanese theater adaptation like of it, but it kind of resulted in borrowing a lot of like Korean like imagery, Korean narratives into like Shimpa. So uh like that's one of the things that got me really fascinated about. So I tried to develop as something. It's really hard. It was really hard to like kind of adapt it into something more like abstract, I guess. It's a very visual, like
Yeah.
it's a very visual subject, but like yeah, adapting into something more like
Like Sonic.
yeah, sonically was super hard. And I originally kind of wanted to do a whole album about it, but ended up doing just an EP. So had to like scramble everything into like 5 songs. It was it was fun. Actually, the next EP is gonna be more of a extension of what I wanted to do in like Shimpa. So yeah, that's what I'm aiming for right now.
Wow. And EP and an album next year. That's
Yeah.
a lot of.
So it's very like so it's very next year's releases are gonna be like super like gay, super queer. I guess I hope, because you know like you're basically like I was in a room with like another queer creative when I was working on that album, like the collaborative album. So if you put like two queers in one room, if it's straight, then it's you have a problem with like,
Right.
yourself.
Right.
Cause like this person that I worked with, she loves like she loves being gay, like she loves being like queer, she loves Beyonce. That's just what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It borrows a lot of like pop culture references as well, like Blackpink, Beyonce, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
it's a
still
it's a it's a fun project.
and
Yeah.
that's from the album that
Yeah.
you're working on.
hmm
You were saying before that you love like the emotional, like I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was like the emotional
Like rips, like
of yeah.
synthesizers, and
So is that what kind of drew you to electronic music?
um, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's like multiple kind of inspirations I got from like electronic music, but um, one of the things were like synthesizers, always. And yeah, I think it's like the melodic structures of a song that really got me into like electronic music. And cuz like it's like one of the genres where it kind of freely borrows other genres like melodic structures into a genre, and like you can still call it electronic music. So like you can borrow it from like jazz, like like trance, how like trance music brought um oh Oh no. Some other genre. Why do I not remember this? Oh my god. I'm yeah. I'm still kind of like, oh, maybe I'm too high on caffeine.
But I find like electronic music super open as a genre, like you said, and just even like DJing out, I feel like so much more inspired about finding new music, about like I feel like the audience is really receptive to like hearing new things, and I'm like really predominantly like drawn to that at the moment. So yeah, I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about like the genre police.
Exactly. No, that's what I
like,
mean.
You're not playing rock.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is electronic music.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm playing like I would say like electroclash or some like post-punk inspired electronic music into like a rock audience, and they'll be like, this is not rock, and I'll say, well, this is rock inspired. So they'll say, oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, even like, you know, like house music came from like disco music came from like, you know, playing like house bands and stuff, funk.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all just kind of, it's almost like a root vegetable. So you like pluck it and like
you see all the roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I'm such a nerd, so like even though I didn't remember what trance came from, there's like this one word that it's like kind of blurry in my head, and that's like where the synths of trance came from.
I'll put it in the description of the
Okay.
podcast because it's gonna bother me as well.
Okay,
I'm gonna ask you later.
okay. Oh no, I'm gonna Google it right now, actually. But yeah, I'm such a like genre nerd, and I'm a nerd in general. So me like discovering, I guess like that's one of the reasons I got like really drawn into electronic music was that the whole discovery of like what genre is this, or like what genre am I listening to, and then like discovering that this is actually like from another genre, and then this genre was from another genre, and like it traces back to like couple years ago, or like, you know, like 30-40 years ago, was so interesting for me, and like it made me more drawn into like, and then like tried to learn more about what happened and like what the actual fuck is going on with this like whole like genre shifting, and like what happened in the 80s and like Chicago, what happened in like what happened in UK in the 90s when you know, this one DJ brought all the like vinyls from the like from America and like started playing like fast BPMs, and like people went crazy.
It's such a reflection on like the social environment as well, and like if people are producing or playing music that's like almost like in conflict with what's happening, and then
new age.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Do you feel okay now?
Yes.
But yeah, I love electronic music as well. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And yeah, we'll have to listen to all your new music coming out next year. There's a lot to come.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
You have a lot of work to do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yay!